Story, The Unbound Heart.
The rain in Seattle doesn't wash things away. It preserves them. It seals the city in a gray, glossy amber, keeping memories fresh and wounds wet. I've lived here for 20 years, long enough to know the difference between a cleansing storm and the kind of drizzle that seeps into your bones and stays there. My name is Genevieve. I am 42 years old, and I restore things that other people have given up on. My shop, The Gilded Page, is a sanctuary for antique books, crumbling maps, and forgotten letters. I spend my days with the scent of vanilla, almond, and decaying paper, the smell of history. It is a quiet life, a safe life. I have my cat, Barnaby, my collection of rare first editions, and a heart that I carefully bound in leather and placed on a high shelf a long time ago, out of reach. Or so I thought. It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind that feels like it's been dragging on since the previous century. The shop was empty, save for the rhythmic drumming of rain against the large bay window and the soft scratching of my scalpel as I removed foxing spots from a Victorian atlas. The brass bell above the door chimed. It wasn't the polite tinkle of a customer browsing. It was a jarring, heavy sound, as if the door had been opened with hesitation, but then forced by necessity. I didn't look up immediately. "I'll be with you in a moment," I said, adjusting my magnifying loupe. "Please shake your umbrella in the stand by the door. Humidity is the enemy here." "I know, Genevieve. I remember." The voice. It hit me like a physical blow to the chest. My hand slipped, the scalpel making a microscopic tear in the map of 18th century France. I froze. The air in the shop seemed to suddenly vanish, sucked out by the vacuum of that deep, resonant baritone. It was a voice I hadn't heard in 17 years, yet it was as familiar as my own internal monologue. Slowly, painfully, I lifted my head. I removed the loupe, blinking against the sudden shift in focus. Standing in the entryway, dripping wet in a charcoal trench coat that looked far too expensive for a casual stroll, was Sebastian. Sebastian Blackwood, the prodigy, the pianist. The man who had taken my heart, shattered it into 1,000 jagged pieces, and then boarded a plane to Vienna without a backward glance. He looked older. The boyish softness was gone, replaced by the sharp angles of a man who has seen too much of the world. There were silver threads in his raven black hair, and lines etched around his eyes the color of a stormy sea, the kind that used to look at me as if I were the only source of light in the universe. "Sebastian," I breathed. The name tasted like ash. He took a step forward, the water from his coat pooling on my hardwood floor. "Hello, Jen. It's been a long time." 17 years, 4 months, and 12 days, my mind supplied instantly, though I bit my tongue. "What are you doing here?" I asked instead, my voice sounding foreign, brittle. I stood up, placing the desk between us like a fortress. "I thought you were in London, or Paris, or wherever the Philharmonic is touring." He winced, a small, almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw. "I'm back, for a while. My grandmother, Eleanor, passed away last week." The anger that had flared instantly cooled, replaced by a dull ache. EleanorBlackwood had been a formidable woman, but she had always been kind to me, even when my own family wasn't. I didn't know. I'm sorry, Sebastian. She was a grand woman." "She was," he agreed, looking around the shop, his gaze lingering on the shelves of leather-bound volumes. "She left me the manor, the house on the cliff." "I see." I crossed my arms, trying to stop the trembling in my hands. "And you're here to sell it, I assume? Quickly liquefy the assets and return to your adoration in Europe?" It was cruel, and I knew it, but the wound was old, and it hadn't healed right. It had healed crooked. Sebastian looked at me, really looked at me, and I felt exposed despite the layers of wool and tweed I wore. No, I'm not selling it. Not yet. There's a library. Her collection, it's in disrepair. The roof leaked in the west wing, mold, water damage. I need someone to assess it, someone to save what can be saved. He paused, and the silence stretched, thick and heavy. I need you, Genevieve. I should have said no. Any rational woman, any woman with a shred of self-preservation instinct, would have pointed to the door and told him to find a restorer in the city directory. There were plenty of others, younger ones who didn't have the phantom sensation of his fingers on their skin every time it rained. But I am a restorer. It is my nature to fix things, to salvage the wreckage. I charge a consultation fee, I said coldly, my eyes locking onto his, and my hourly rate for restoration has tripled since you last knew me. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. It was a sad smile. I expected nothing less. Name your price. My price, I thought bitterly, is the last 2 decades of my life. I'll come tomorrow morning, I said aloud. 10 o'clock. Have the room ventilated if possible. And Sebastian? Yes? Don't think this means anything. This is business. You have books that are dying. I am a doctor for books. That is all. He nodded, his expression unreadable. Thank you, Genevieve. Truly. He turned to leave, and the bell chimed again, signaling his departure. The shop was suddenly too quiet. The smell of rain and expensive cologne lingered in the air. I sat back down at my desk, my legs giving way. I stared at the torn map of France. Damn you, I whispered to the empty room. Damn you for coming back. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in my bed, listening to the wind howl, and I was 22 again. I was standing on the pier, the mist clinging to my eyelashes, holding a letter that simply said, I have to go. I can't explain. Don't wait for me. No explanation, no goodbye kiss, just a void where my future was supposed to be. I had spent years analyzing it. Had I been too clingy, not talented enough? He was a musical genius, destined for greatness. I was just a girl who liked old paper and quiet corners. Maybe he had realized he needed a muse, not a wife. Maybe he had met someone else. The speculation had eaten me alive for the first 3 years. Then I hardened. I built the Gilded Page. I dated, occasionally, nice men, accountants, teachers, a dentist. But none of them made the air vanish when they walked into a room. None of them played Rachmaninoff with such violence and tenderness that it made me weep. I rolled over, punching my pillow. Tomorrow, I would be professional. I would be ice. I would treat him like a stranger with a checkbook. The drive to Blackwood Manor the next morning was treacherous. The storm had passed, but it had left behind a thick, soupy fog that clung to the coastal road. The manor sat on a promontory overlooking the Pacific, a Gothic revival beast of stone and slate that had always looked half-haunted. I pulled my station wagon up the gravel drive. The weeds were high, choking the once pristine rose gardens. It seemed the great EleanorBlackwood had lost her battle with nature long before she died. Sebastian was waiting on the porch. He wore a heavy knit sweater and jeans, looking more like the boy I knew and less like the maestro on the album covers. He held 2 mugs of steaming coffee. I got out of the car, clutching my leather satchel of tools like a shield. Black coffee, 2 sugars, he said, extending a mug to me. I stared at it. I drink herbal tea now. Caffeine makes me jittery. It was a lie. I lived on espresso, but I didn't want him to know he remembered. Oh, he looked crestfallen, awkwardly lowering the mug. I'm sorry, I can make... No need. Let's see the library. He led me inside. The house smelled of dust, cedar, and neglect. Sheets covered the furniture in the grand hallway, looking like ghosts of guests past. We walked in silence, our footsteps echoing on the parquet floors. When he opened the double doors to the library, I gasped. I couldn't help it. It was magnificent, and it was a tragedy. Floor-to-ceiling shelves made of dark mahogany wrapped around the room. A spiral staircase led to a gallery level, but the air was damp, heavy with the unmistakable stench of mildew. In the corner, where the ceiling had bowed, water stains streaked down the wallpaper, and a pile of books on a reading table was swollen and warped. "Oh, Sebastian," I whispered, my professional mask slipping. "How long has it been like this?" "I don't know," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "Grandmother, she stopped letting people in here years ago. She became very reclusive. When the lawyers gave me the keys, I found this." I walked over to the damaged table. I put on my white cotton gloves. Gently, reverently, I touched the spine of a waterlogged book. It was a first edition of Jane Eyre. My heart clenched. "This is severe," I said, my voice all business. "The humidity levels in here are catastrophic for paper. We need dehumidifiers immediately. We need to isolate the affected volumes to prevent mold spores from spreading to the healthy collection." I turned to him. "Why didn't she call anyone?" He leaned against a bookshelf, looking defeated. "She was proud, and I think she was waiting. She always said this library was the heart of the house. Maybe she let it rot because the heart was broken." He looked at me pointedly. I looked away. "I need to do an inventory," I said, opening my satchel. "I need to categorize them. Salvageable, critical, and gone. It will take weeks." "I have time," Sebastian said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." "Why?" I asked, the question slipping out before I could stop it. "Why aren't you going anywhere? You have concerts, you have a life." I canceled them. I froze, my pen hovering over my notebook. "You canceled your tour? The European tour?" "I canceled everything, Genevieve." He walked closer to me, invading my personal space. I could smell the rain on him, and the coffee, and something else, sandalwood. "I can't play anymore." I looked up at him, shocked. "What do you mean?" He held up his hands, those beautiful, long, dexterous hands that had insured for millions. They were trembling, a fine, rhythmic tremor. "It started 6 months ago," he whispered. "Focal dystonia, or maybe it's psychosomatic. The doctors aren't sure, but I sit at the keys and my hands, they don't obey. The music is in my head, loud and clear, but I can't get it out." A wave of sympathy crashed over me, threatening to drown my anger. For a musician like Sebastian, this was a death sentence. It was worse than death. It was silence. "Sebastian," I said, my voice softening, I'm so sorry." "I came back here to hide," he confessed, turning his back to me and looking out the rain-streaked window. "To figure out who I am if I'm not Sebastian Blackwood, the pianist. And then I saw the library, and I thought, if I can save this, if I can fix something broken, maybe I can fix myself." He turned back, his eyes pleading. "Help me, Jen, please." I looked at the ruined books. I looked at the broken man. "Get the dehumidifiers," I said, "and make some tea, herbal." The next 2 weeks were a strange, surreal blur. I moved into the guest cottage on the estate grounds to save the commute, immersing myself in the restoration. We fell into a routine, a dangerous, domestic routine. Mornings were for work. I would set up my station on the large oak table in the center of the library, surrounded by brushes, pastes, and Japanese tissue paper. Sebastian would work on the house, repairing the roof, clearing the garden. He was clumsy at first, his hands unaccustomed to manual labor, but he learned quickly. Lunch was sandwiches eaten on the porch, watching the gray ocean churn. We talked about safe things, the weather, the history of the books, the local town gossip. But the past was always there, a third person at the table. One afternoon, a week into the job, I was working on a collection of poetry from the 1920s. Sebastian came in, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. He had been fixing the old generator. "You have a smudge," he said, pointing to my cheek. "Where?" I tried to wipe it with my shoulder, my hands full of glue. "Here, let me." He reached out. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. His skin was rough, warm. The contact sent a jolt of electricity down my spine, so intense I almost dropped the book. He didn't pull away. His hand lingered, cupping my face. The air grew heavy again. "Genevieve," he whispered, "you're still the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." I pulled back sharply, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. "Don't." "Why not?" "Because you left," I snapped, the anger finally boiling over. I slammed the book shut. "You left, Sebastian. You didn't just break up with me. You vanished. You ghosted me before ghosting was even a term. You left me standing there, wondering what was wrong with me. And now you come back with your sad eyes and your trembling hands, and you think you can just touch me?" He looked stricken. "I wrote to you." The room went silent. "What?" I whispered. "I wrote to you every week for a year. I sent them to your apartment. I called. Your roommate, Vanessa, she said you threw the letters away. She said you moved on. She said you were engaged to that architect. What was his name? Richard?" I stared at him, my mouth agop. Vanessa? Vanessa. My cousin, my roommate at the time, the one who had held me while I cried, the one who had always been a little too jealous of my relationship with Sebastian. "I never received a single letter," I said, my voice shaking, "and I never dated anyone named Richard. Vanessa made that up." Sebastian's face went pale. "She told me you burned them. She said you wanted nothing to do with me. She said I was holding you back." "And you believed her?" I cried, tears pricking my eyes. "You didn't think to try one more time, to show up at my door?" "I was a coward," he shouted, the first time he had raised his voice. He paced the room, agitated. "I was 23, Genevieve. I was terrified. My career was exploding, the pressure was crushing me, and I thought, if you didn't want me, if I was just a burden to you, then I should let you go. I thought I was doing the noble thing." "Noble?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "It was stupid. It was tragic." I turned away, leaning against the ladder, burying my face in my hands. The revelation was too much. Vanessa was gone now, moved to Australia 10 years ago. I couldn't even scream at her. All that wasted time, all that pain manufactured by a jealous lie. I felt Sebastian's presence behind me. He didn't touch me this time. He just stood there, radiating heat and regret. "I never stopped loving you," he said. His voice was broken. Every concert I played, every ovation, I looked into the darkness of the hall, hoping to see your face. "Why do you think I never married? Why do you think I'm here?" I turned around. Tears were streaming down my face. "You're here because your grandmother died. I'm here because I was tired of running away from the only place that ever felt like home." He looked at me with such raw, naked vulnerability that my walls crumbled. The anger was still there, but beneath it was the love I had tried to suffocate for 17 years. It was battered, bruised, but alive. "I can't just forgive you, Sebastian," I whispered. "It hurts too much." "I know," he said. "I don't expect you to. I want a chance to know who you are now, not the memory of you, the woman standing in front of me. I looked at his hands, the hands that couldn't play music anymore. Maybe we were both broken things. Maybe we were both in need of restoration. Okay, I said softly, a chance, but we take it slow, painfully slow. He nodded, a flicker of hope lighting his eyes. Adagio. I can do adagio. The dynamic shifted after that. The tension remained, but it wasn't the tension of unsaid things anymore. It was the tension of anticipation. We continued working. I saved Jane Eyre. I saved the collection of botanical prints. And slowly, Sebastian started to touch the piano again. It sat in the grand ballroom, a Steinway grand covered in a dust sheet. For weeks, he avoided it. But one rainy evening, after a glass of wine, he walked over to it. I sat on the floor, sorting through a box of old photographs, pictures of him and me from college, happy, young, oblivious. He pulled the sheet off. The piano gleamed in the dim light. He sat on the bench, staring at the keys. Try, I said softly. He placed his hands on the keys. They shook. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and played a single chord. It was shaky, uneven. He grimaced. Don't stop, I urged. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true. He began to play a simple melody, a lullaby. It was hesitant at first, stumbling. But as he focused, as he let go of the fear of performance and just felt the music, the shaking lessened. It wasn't the virtuoso perfection of his recordings. It was raw. It was human. It was beautiful. I walked over to the piano and sat beside him on the bench. I rested my head on his shoulder. He kept playing, tears silently tracking down his face. You see, I whispered, you're still in there. He stopped playing and turned to me. His eyes searched mine. And you? Are you still in there? The girl who used to dance while I played? She's changed, I said. She's stronger, she's harder, but she's here. He leaned in, giving me all the time in the world to pull away. I didn't. His lips met mine. It wasn't like the movies. It wasn't an explosion of fireworks. It was a sigh. It was the feeling of coming in from the cold and sitting by a fire. It tasted of wine and tears and 17 years of longing. It was familiar and new all at once. We kissed until the rain stopped. We kissed until the ghosts in the room settled down to watch. But life isn't a fairy tale, and the climax wasn't the kiss. The climax came 3 days later when the real world tried to intrude. I was finishing the restoration of the final batch of books. The library looked transformed. The smell of mold was gone, replaced by the scent of beeswax and lemon oil. A car pulled up the drive, a sleek black sedan. A woman stepped out. She was tall, elegant, wearing a suit that cost more than my entire shop. She marched up the steps and into the house without knocking. I met her in the hallway. Sebastian was in the garden. "Can I help you?" I asked, wiping my hands on my apron. She looked me up and down with disdain. "I'm Sylvia Vance, Sebastian's agent. Who are you? The housekeeper?" "I'm the restorer," I said, bristling, "and a friend." "Great," she said, pushing past me. "Where is he? I've been trying to reach him for weeks. The Philharmonic is threatening to sue for breach of contract. He needs to get his act together and get back to reality." Sebastian entered through the French doors. He stopped when he saw her. "Sylvia," he said, his voice flat, "I told you not to come." "Sebastian, darling," she cooed, her tone changing instantly to one of manipulative sweetness. "You're having a breakdown. We understand, but the grieving period is over. You have obligations. You have a legacy. You can't rot in this damp old house with She gestured vaguely at me. With the help? I felt my face flush. I waited for him to defend me. I waited for him to tell her to leave. But he hesitated. He looked at her, then at me. He looked at his hands. "Sylvia, I can't play," he said quietly. "We have specialists in Zurich," she insisted, stepping closer to him, placing a hand on his arm. "The best neurologists. We can fix this. But you have to come back to the city. You have to leave this mausoleum." She looked at me with a smirk. "And you have to leave the past behind. It's distracting you." The air in the room crackled. This was it, the moment of truth. The agent represented his old life, his fame, his validation. I represented what? A damaged history? I held my breath. Sebastian looked down at Sylvia's hand on his arm. Gently but firmly, he removed it. "You're right, Sylvia," he said. My heart plummeted. I felt the floor drop out from under me. He was leaving. Of course he was leaving. "I do have a legacy," Sebastian continued, his voice gaining strength. "But it's not in concert halls. It's not in applause." He walked over to me. He took my hand, his fingers interlacing with mine. His grip was steady. "My legacy is here," he said, looking at me. "I'm done, Sylvia. Cancel the contracts. Pay the fines from my accounts. I don't care. I'm retired." "You're insane," Sylvia hissed. "You're throwing away millions. You're throwing away your gift." "I'm reclaiming my life," he corrected. "Now, please leave. You're interrupting. We have work to do." Sylvia stared at him, mouth open. Then she turned her glare on me. "You'll ruin him," she spat. "He'll get bored. He'll resent you." "Maybe," I said calmly, "but that's a risk we'll take. Goodbye, Sylvia." She stormed out, slamming the heavy oak door so hard the windows rattled. Silence returned to the hallway. Sebastian let out a long breath, his shoulders sagging. "Did you mean it?" I asked quietly. He turned to me, lifting my hand to his lips. "Every word. I don't want the noise anymore, Jen. I want the quiet. I want the rain. I want you." He paused, looking vulnerable again. But what if she's right? What if I'm just a broken pianist with nothing to offer? I reached up and smoothed the hair back from his forehead. "You're not just a pianist, Sebastian. You're the man who saved this house. You're the man who came back. And as for being broken," I smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached my eyes. "I'm a restorer. I specialize in broken things. We take it one page at a time, one day at a time." He pulled me into a hug, burying his face in my neck. "I love you, Genevieve. I never stopped." "I love you too," I whispered, finally allowing myself to say the words. "Welcome home." It has been 6 months since that day. The library is finished. It is beautiful, a warm, inviting space filled with restored books and fresh flowers. Sebastian didn't go back to the stage, but he didn't stop music either. He started teaching. He gives lessons to local children in the village. He plays for them, imperfectly, sometimes haltingly, but with a joy I never saw in him when he was famous. The tremor is still there, but it's fading. It seems the less he tries to control it, the more it obeys him. We live in the manor now. I moved my shop operations to the East Wing. We argue about what to cook for dinner. We argue about the color of the curtains. We are learning each other all over again, navigating the quirks and scars of our 40-something selves. It isn't perfect. We have days where the past rears its head, where the resentment of lost time flares up. We have to talk through it, painfully, honestly, but we are together. Yesterday, I found an old letter tucked inside a book I was restoring for a client. It was a love letter from 1912, filled with longing and regret. It made me cry. But then I looked up and saw Sebastian in the garden, pruning the roses that were finally blooming again. He saw me watching him and waved, a bright, easy smile on his face. I waved back. We can't change the past. We can't get back the 17 years we lost to lies and fear. But we can write the next chapter, and this time we are writing it together in permanent ink. Thank you so much for reading Genevieve and Sebastian's story. It's a reminder that sometimes love deserves a second chance, even when it seems impossible. It teaches us that communication is everything. How many years were lost because of a lie and a lack of courage to ask the truth? If this story touched your heart, or if you've ever had the one that got away come back into your life, I would love to hear about it. Do you believe in second chances, or should the past stay in the past? Please subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the atmosphere of the old library and the stormy romance. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were Genevieve? Would you have forgiven him? I read every comment, and I can't wait to discuss this with you. Until next time, keep your hearts open.